Hey guys, back again with 2014's The Possession of Michael King, starring Shane Johnson, Julie McNiven, Jed Rees, Ella Anderson, Cara Pifko, Cullen Douglas, Frida Foshan, Patricia Healy, with Dale Dickey and Thomas Arana. Now, to be honest with you, this film came in 2014, and I watched it today, and I don't know if I like it or not. There's certain things that I really like, and certain things I don't. It's a fairly decent movie. It's kind of found footage, mockumentary, documentary kind, you know. And I'm not very keen on the whole possession angle. Possession kind of isn't my thing in movies, but I still like giving them a go to see if one will surprise me. So let's get on with basic. Oh, and it's directed by David Zhang, whatever way you want to say it. To be honest with you, I'm going to go with the story. You guys can tell me what you think in the comment section below. So here we go. Starts off with like a video being recorded like at a picnic with Fishbone, who's the dog, the daughter, Sam, and Michael King. Michael King's recording it, and Sam takes the camera and she goes, what's your plans for the year? And he says, I want to film a documentary showing everybody how happy we are as a family. And then he realised he didn't pay the meter by the car, where the car is. So Sam goes, I'll do it. And then it shoots to him basically talking to a tarot reader. And he's very confrontational with her about how she said that Sam was going to become an actress and make it big, and that's why they didn't go away, and basically that's why she died. And the tarot reader pulls out the devil and death, and it's supposed to shock you. But the problem is with tarot reading is death and the devil don't symbolise what they mean, what you think they mean on the cards all the time. It depends on if they're upside down, you know. So she gets upset basically, and she tells him she wants him to leave. So he decides he's going to make a documentary about good and evil, about they don't exist because he doesn't believe in demons or angels. So basically, what he's going to do is going to do all this kind of spiritual, demonic, satanic thing to try and prove that if it exists or not. And so he buys this cheap kit, which doesn't work, with candles and an altar to try and summon up a demon. And that doesn't work. So he decides he's going to go see a necromantic, an exorcist, and I'm guessing these witch people, demonologists, that's it. And he goes to see one couple, who I'm guessing demonologists because I can't remember clearly. And they tell him they need him to give them semen. And he says, what? And asking for semen. And they tie him downstairs on like a cross kind of thing. And they tie him down, and then they put these masks on, and then things start messing up on the camera because his friend, I think his friend Jacob. Let's have a look. It doesn't say, but I think he's got a friend. Let me just find the guy's name so I can get it right quickly. His friend. Oh, it doesn't say. Why isn't it not on here? Why is it not there? But he's got a friend who's helping him with it, who's called who isn't mentioned on there. But he's got a friend basically who's filming it, and the camera starts messing up. And things are getting creepy, and then the couple who are wearing the masks are having sex over him basically. And you just find it hysterical funny, that bit. Then he goes and sees a necromantic bloke who basically tells him that the fresher the dead, the more chance they're going to come through. So he puts anaesthetic on his belly, and he starts stitching in like teeth around his belly button area, and he gets really, really messed up from it, like because he kills frogs and sticks them on these poles around the thing, and the police turn up. And basically, you see Michael's friend running back, and he sees Michael go into like this altar thing, and he jumps down, attacks him, and he doesn't remember what he did. Then he decides to go see an exorcist. And the guy dies. Basically, the guy dies later on. And basically, Michael just starts going more and more crazy, like making these weird screeching noises. And he goes to see, I think, a record artist about it. And the record artist goes, you couldn't have made this yourself. It's very, the problem is, it's so much like a documentary. It's one of those films where you've seen it all before, kind of, especially the first hour. You sit there going, I've seen most of this type of thing before in other films. Maybe not as good, maybe not as bad, but you just sit there going, ugh. So then he basically ants start crawling on his face. And every time he takes one off, another one just reappears on him. And basically you see a whole jar full of them. Some of them are CGI'd and some of them, I'm guessing, are real. So basically over time he gets more and more crazy. And there's one scene in like night vision goggles where his hand's going up his sister's leg. Beth King is going up her leg. And you're like, what's going on here? And he's about to put his hand around her throat, and then he stops, and then he moves the cover and puts his hand in her panties. And then you see the camera turn around and go like this. And then that's it. And you're like, what? You know? And you just think to yourself, okay. So he just gets more and more loony, basically, from the demon inside him. And the demon talks to him, going, get her, and all this. And he's fighting it because he doesn't want his daughter to die. So there's scenes in it where, for instance, you see the dog brutally murdered on his daughter's bed. I'm guessing it's his daughter's bed. Then he basically handcuffs himself to the bed because he won't let them kill his daughter. Because earlier on, he says, I'll kill somebody for you, but I'm not killing my daughter. Right? And he goes and there's a homeless man in the street and he has a knife and he goes to kill him and you think, oh, he's killed him. But he gets home and he goes, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. And you're like, but if your daughter's life's on the line, mate, and you're possessed, and you know basically in the end you're going to die because possession normally means that, kill the fucker, right? No, he doesn't. So then basically he goes home, he handcuffs himself to bed, and it looks like he's having sex with an invisible person. Oh, which is probably one of the highlights of the film. Then what happens is he wakes up, he goes downstairs, and there's all this blood all over the floor and all over the place with arrows and a big massive pentagram in the middle with on the screen, watch me in blood. So he puts it on and it shows his friend coming in the door and unlocking him basically, saying, I think I need to take you to the hospital. If I unlock this, we're going to the hospital immediately. And he goes, mm-hmm. And then basically you see his friend dead, basically, in the bedroom. His hand falls and he's dead. So you just sit there going, mm-hmm. So basically then the sister comes home and he breaks her neck, which we've all been waiting for, and he chases his daughter. But before all that, he decides he wants to commit suicide. So he takes all these pills and then he spurts them all up in blood. And you're like, oh, oh. And then he gets a hairdryer. And he jumps into the bath, which I'm guessing everybody has their bath full out of nowhere. Jumps in there, ah, and you think, oh, he's killed himself. Nope, he's alive. He doesn't die until he jumps out the window. And you're like, but if you survive from an electric shock, how can you not survive from jumping out your window? I know they're two different deaths, but it's just a bit weird. So he chases his daughter at the last bit, chases her. And he's like, kill ya. Oh, I'm gonna kill ya. And then he fights it. And then, I'm gonna kill ya. And then also looks in the mirror and I think it's a quarter, it starts spinning on the desk table in the mirror. And he goes, Sam. And all of a sudden, out of his mouth, Sam talks and goes, go now, my child, or something like that. And you're like, And then he decides to throw himself out the window and kill himself. Then at the very end, you see basically the same footage from the beginning, but you see what actually happens. And what basically happened is, spoiler alert, is basically she took the quarter off him to go put in the meter. She dropped it on the floor. She bent over to pick up and the car hit her. Now, I don't want to sound funny, but that was pretty shit, really, but realistic, I guess. But what I want to know is why didn't she have some quarters on there or anything? It just seemed really weird. But anyway, I have to admit this review probably wasn't the best review because, to be honest with you, I didn't really like the movie that much. But it did have some good bits in it, like when he decides to go visit all the people that kind of did things with him. He attacks them or verbally has a go at them, and they all act like they don't care, or they all tend to leave or threaten them with a gun. So I kind of enjoyed the film, but at the same time I didn't. It's really hard for me to rate this movie because there's some really, really creepy, great elements to it. Yet there's also some things in it which I just thought were overused and done by now, and that I wish there'd have been some newer stuff in it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you know, it should have just, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, well, it's just one of those things where you've seen it all before, but at the same time you haven't, and you want to see it, and you want to kind of watch it, but at the same time you're getting bored of it because it reminds you of all these other movies you've watched. That's why I don't watch possession movies a lot, because I've watched one every like 20 movies. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, I'm watching the same movie practically again. So when you watch Paranormal Activity, you watch it and you're going, this is the same movie again, just with different people and a tiny, tiny different situation. So the film is good for people who like possession movies. It's got a very high rating. It's got a very it's very well liked by people. So probably people who like this kind of movie will love it. It's not a bad movie by any means, but it's not a classic in the making, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I recommend this movie to people who like possession, like demon kind of movies, and like watching dogs getting murdered and stuff. I recommend Possession, the Possession of Michael King. If you're like me and you like kind of more realistic, then this probably isn't the film for you. But still give it a go like I did, because it might pleasantly surprise you. You know, I mean, for me it's 50-50. Normally I don't like them at all. So give it a go. Take care, guys. I give it a 2.5. Thanks for watching.